Relationships are scary. There's the bit that's scary because you're a nervous mess who isn't very good at flirting. But the real scary part is after you're already in one. Normally, as a relationship goes on, your vulnerability gradually increases. As you spend time with someone, you reveal more of yourself. You give more of yourself. Parts good, parts bad, parts embarrassing, and parts to be proud of. If we can give so much of ourselves, our good and bad bits included, then the real fear must be to lose that relationship. The fear comes from the risk, and risk is inherent to relationships. It's inherent to life. The title of Eternal Sunshine comes from a poem written by Alexander Pope. It's spoken by Mary in the latter part of the movie.
How happy is the blameless vessel's lot, the world forgetting by the world forgot. Eternal sunshine of a spotless mind, each prayer accepted, and each wish resigned.
It's a rather long poem, totals at around 3,000 words. It begins with a woman, Eloisa, sitting in a convent and living as a nun with a vow of silence. She recalls her beloved, her lost love named Abelard, and writes his name over and over while weeping over it in an attempt to wash away her memory of him. This is emblematic of the events and the main point of the movie, forgetting the love and relationship that you had with someone. For some, the takeaway at the end of the movie is that Joel and Clementine will continue a cycle of falling in love and erasing each other over and over for the rest of their lives. In fact, this is what happens in an older draft of the script. There are, however, a lot of differences between this script and what actually wound up on the screen. Thus, I think it's important to consider the contents of the movie in and of itself. It's not difficult to relate to Joel and Clem's plight in the movie. After experiencing immense heartbreak, it's not unusual to wish that you had never known the thing making you sad in the first place. And Clementine, often characterized by her impulsive decision-making, decides to erase Joel. Once Joel discovers this, he does the same, almost more for the sake of getting back at her than his own misery.
You erased me. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this in the first place.
Sorry.
You.
You know me. I'm impulsive.
Joel is our main perspective, and through him we observe the process of each of these memories being forcibly scrubbed from his mind. While at first he remains vindictive, as more of his past is unearthed, he begins to regret the procedure. He realizes that though he may be destroying all the memories that make him feel horrible, he's also losing all of the memories that made him feel happy. He actively attempts to stop it from within his own consciousness, aided by the memory of Clem. Ultimately, though, he fails. The memories are wiped, and he can no longer remember her. But the thing is, Joel and Clem meet for the first time again. Eternal Sunshine is told out of chronological order, and their introduction to one another at the beginning of the movie is actually after they've both destroyed their memories. After a debacle with Mary and Dr. Howard, though, all the patients that have undergone the procedure are given the tapes containing all their thoughts on the people they've erased. Joel and Clem both hear everything bad that they think about each other, bearing witness to the messy and wholly negative mindset that they both had after their breakup. Clementine begins to leave, but Joel stops her. The two are now both painfully aware of all the things that they dislike or will one day come to dislike about each other. In many ways, the future seems set in stone. There's a sense of inevitability that the two are destined to one day fall into the same trappings that they did in the past. But still, they choose each other, despite the fact that there is inevitable danger, that there will be struggles, and it might even end in the exact same way. They choose to love each other. Choosing love is dangerous, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Love is one of the most wonderful parts of the human experience, but to get something so wonderful, we must also risk the potential for misery. Love in this context is like a microcosm of life as a whole, underlined with the fact that without taking any risks, there are no rewards. Without choosing to take these risks, we aren't fully human. We aren't fully living our lives. Pain is as much a part of the human experience as love is, and often the two go hand in hand. Joel and Clem don't just erase the painful parts of their pasts, they erase all the happy memories too. But what about the title? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind implies that happiness is found in an experience wiped clean of any hardship. It's evocative of the idea that ignorance is bliss, but I believe the movie argues otherwise. There is a certain sort of comfort in not knowing, but it's not true happiness. Ultimately, to achieve real fulfillment, we must become unspotless, and we become better for it. Perhaps the biggest facet of this is that Joel and Clem's minds are not spotless. The character Patrick steals all of the material that Clementine surrendered for the procedure that related to Joel, and he uses this to try and recreate experiences from her prior relationship, but with him instead. In doing so, he's hoping that everything that made Clem fall in love with Joel will make her fall in love with him. But this doesn't work. Despite the fact that she'd had her memory of Joel wiped, some part of her past remains. Clem experiences an overwhelming and unexplained desire to go to the lake where her and Joel stargazed, and when Patrick attempts to use the same lines that Joel did, she realizes the familiarity and runs away. Additionally, it's revealed in the final memory to be erased that Joel's desire to go to Montauk is prompted by Clem.
Meet me in Montauk.
One interesting element to consider is that this isn't something that would actually be possible if it were only a memory. It's possible that this implies a certain degree of supernatural connection that transcends science and the memory erasure, like a spiritual force between the two that tells them that they both need to go back to Montauk and meet each other once again. Regardless, they've both left a permanent mark on one another, and they begin this relationship with knowledge about each other that they didn't have the first time around. This new starting point allows Joel and Clem to stop themselves from stumbling into similar pitfalls in the future, and as the closing song states, change their hearts. One other thing that I find fascinating in regards to the implications on Joel and Clem's relationship is the color of her hair. Clem's hair color has a lot of significance and attention attributed to it. At the beginning of the relationship, it's green, evokes a sense of newness. At the peak of their passion, Clem's hair is red, and as it crumbles apart, it becomes orange, like so many falling autumn leaves. But now, Clem's hair is blue. Blue and red obviously contrast each other in the way that they create a sense of cold and warmth, and I believe this to be representative of the type of love that they're now experiencing. Anyone who's been in a relationship is aware of the honeymoon phase. It's the time when a relationship has gotten going, but is still new and full of passion as you discover everything you can about each other. Of course, this eventually ebbs, and you enter a sort of cooler kind of love. While warm love might be something like finding the time to make out with each other every single day, cool love is more about the small things. It's the little dates that you go on with someone. It's holding hands while you go on a walk. It's small little pecks on the forehead before you both go to sleep. This doesn't make it less valuable. It simply creates a different dynamic between you two. Passion still finds its way in, but the relationship ultimately changes to fit this new way of being. Joel and Clem are both now in their own cool love phase. They understand things about each other, both good and bad, and are equipped with the ability to continue their relationship and avoid what put it into a bad position in the first place. Their maturity, their acknowledgement that it may go poorly, but to choose it anyway, displays their commitment to love despite its potential consequences. So yes, relationships are scary, and the world is scary, and life is scary. But that's okay. Without us taking some kind of risk, we would never get the kinds of rewards that make life worth living. Pain is inevitable, but we can't allow it to deter us from doing everything we can from living our lives. Thank you to everyone who supported me on my last video. I appreciate it so much. It's incredibly encouraging and uplifting to me to see the comments that you guys are leaving on there. You were all so kind and so complimentary, and I really do appreciate it. I would like to welcome all 10 of you that decided to subscribe because you found my take on explaining Fire and Blood to be good enough. Those kinds of videos do take a long time to edit, so I'm hoping to maybe make that more of kind of a monthly thing, but in the meantime, you'll be getting videos like this. It'll be about movies I like, TV shows I like, and explaining maybe some smaller things, but I would really like to put a big focus on the Fire and Blood Explained series because boy do I love me some Song of Ice and Fire. So, again, thank you so much to everyone who supported on the last video. I really hope you enjoyed this one. And remember to like and subscribe if you did enjoy it so you can catch all of the future videos that I make. So, cool, yeah, nice, and happy birthday.